Hi, I'm professional communication skills coach Dan O'Connor, and today you'll learn the 3 biggest mistakes that people make when they're looking for a new job, specifically pertaining to the resume and getting the interview. Are you ready? Mistake number 1. They put way too much on it. I mean, way too much. Remember that your resume should only be 1 page maximum, unless you're in some specialized industry and there's a different way to write your resume. That's a little different. But under normal circumstances, it's very rare that your resume should be more than 1 page. So one thing that people do that takes up too much space and they have to cram everything in, or things that they put on there that should not be there to begin with, are things, for example, like your education. Now, a lot of people, when they hear that, are going to say, what? That's the first thing I have on my resume. Well, if it's the only thing you have, for example, if you have no experience in the industry to which you are applying, that might make sense. But remember, the goal of the resume is to get not the job, the interview. So what you want to do is pique the interest of the person who's going to be going through the resumes so that they say, wow, this really looks great, but I have more questions, so I want to call them for an interview. Many times people are shooting themselves in the foot by putting way too much on their resume, and they're putting things that actually aren't as good as some of the other applicants for that position. And so you're losing out on the interview when you could have actually gotten the job had you made it in the door for the interview. So if, for example, your education really isn't something special, and what I mean by that is, let's say that there are people who are applying for your desired position who went to Harvard. You might have a better education, you might be more equipped, but if your education isn't really that special, don't put it on there. Instead, go more into detail on how special you are. Which brings me to tip number 2. Now, if you found value in tip number 1 and you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to do that. And if you find this content valuable, help support this channel by liking this video and sharing it, okay? Number 2, they put their previous job descriptions on their resume. Why do we do that? If you're applying, let's say, for example, to a customer service lead position, and your previous position was a customer service position, they're going to know what your job description is when you put your job title on the resume. For example, if I put customer service call center representative on my resume, and I'm applying for a call center managerial position, they're going to know what my general duties were. So don't put things like, I took incoming calls, I fielded customer complaints, I blah, blah, blah. Don't do that. Instead, describe what you did that added value to your company. For example, power words on a resume are going to be phrases such as developed and implemented or was awarded. If you can put those 2 phrases on your resume, the more the better. For example, developed and implemented a system that cut our customer wait time by 15%. That is something that if I'm hiring for a call center managerial position, will pique my interest, and I will say, whoa, I can use people who do that. If you developed and implemented a system that added value to my company, perfect. I now know I want to call you. But again, don't put too much because that's enough to get a call. If I was awarded top call center customer service representative 3 months in a row, beating out 120 other applicants during my first year, that is something that would make me think, all right, again, I want to know how you did that. How did you implement that system? And how did you get that award beating out 120 other people during your first year? You want to pique their interest and make them curious so that they'll call you, right? And so don't talk about what you did. Describe what you did that was special, that brought value, and that was unique to you, that other people will not be able to write. Remember, think to yourself, if there's somebody else who, in my same position from my company, is applying for this job, what can I say that's different from what they're saying? Because that's what's going to get you the call. And I have somebody who's one of the leading experts in the industry for both getting the interview and getting the job coming to visit us on Sunday. And I'm so glad that she agreed to come. So if you want to be part of that, it's a live event this Sunday at 1 o'clock Central, which is Chicago time. If you send in your resume in advance, I could select you as one of the resumes who would get a free review from our expert. And that normally costs $500 just for that review from this person. So if you wanted to join us, you would be so well served doing so. 1 o'clock Sunday. Remember that to get your invitation, you want to subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell. And if you liked this information so far, you're going to love it on Sunday, and it'll really help you land that interview, and you'll get tips to help you then land the job. So I hope to see you there. And mistake number 3, you send out the same resume to more than one company. Remember that the person who's going to be reading the resumes is going to be going through many, many, many resumes, probably from a lot of different people. And the strategy for most people is to just, I'm going to send out my resume to 100 people and hope for the best. Don't do that. You'll be much more likely to get the call that you're hoping for if you choose 3 companies where you really want to work and you really think that it's a good fit. and you tailor your resume to those 3 companies. If you get 1 out of the 3, you're more likely to get that 1 call than if you were to send out 100 resumes just randomly to different people. Because when the people who are reading the resumes read them, you know whose resume you received where you're just 1 out of 100. And you know the people who took the time to honor you and your company by reading the description that you made and addressing each one of the requirements that you put in the description. And what I mean by that is to have the job description out in front of you. Take your resume. Now, if you can have a professional resume writer do your resume, that's always best, because just like whatever you did in your last position, if you were a customer service representative, you're going to be better at being a customer service rep than somebody who has never done it, right? If somebody's sole position and job focus is writing resumes, they're going to be able to write a better resume than you could, but they should give you a copy that you can then adjust to meet the qualifications and the needs of every single job that you apply for. So you should always get your resume in an editable format. And while you edit your resume and you're looking at the job description of the interview that you really want, address every single thing that you can in your resume. So if they say that they have a list of special qualifications, unique personality traits that they believe would be good for that job, list those. Use the same language that they used. And if people read your resume, don't be afraid that they're going to think, oh, they just read my job description and put that on their resume. It's more likely they would think like this. Oh my God, they read my job description and actually addressed that in their resume. Call them now before somebody else scoops them up. That's how they'll be thinking, because that's so unusual that somebody would take the time to do that. And if you take the time to honor them by doing that, wouldn't you appreciate that if you were writing a job description and you received a resume that specifically addressed everything that you wrote? You'd think, finally, somebody read the description and actually wrote a resume to address my particular needs. They would be the first one you would call, I bet, because you'd think, smart. So make sure to do that. And there are so many other things that you can do to dramatically increase the odds of you getting the interview. Remember, you have to be focused on what the goal is. It's not to get the job, it's to get the interview. In the next video in this series, which of course I'm going to be collaborating with our expert Heather on, I'm going to give you the top question to ask while you are being interviewed that dramatically increases the likelihood of you getting the job. So to be notified when that comes out, I think I might do it live, hit that notification bell. So I hope you do that. Also, I have a new course coming up, and I'm going to be collaborating with her. Her name is Heather. She's the expert on this new course. The only way to get information on that is to subscribe to our newsletter or become a VIP member before the price goes up. And if you liked this video, you're going to love that. So I hope to see you in there.